New bike day again. I know I'm such a lucky rider and I cannot wait to show you the beast behind me and what I'm going to get up to in the coming months. Do you want to see it? Let's go. And here it is, riders, the giant Trance X Advanced E+. I know it is a mouthful, but what a beautiful looking bike. 150, 140 with the new sync drive motor, 85 Newton meters, 625 battery, and you can put a 250 watt internal battery on this beast. And also, this is rocking Fox Live Valve, which is automatic suspension. And for me, it's the first time trying that, so I can't wait to deep dive into that. And I think it's going to be perfect for long days in the saddle and really exploring the backcountry of Spain. Anyway, riders, enough of me jibber-jabbing. Let's go ride it. Okay, now for the shakedown ride. I'm with the Punisher.
Hello, riders.
And he is riding the Focus Sam Squared with the Bosch Gen 4 and the 625 battery. And I'm clearly on the new Trance with the sync drive motor, which has 85 Newton meters, so same Newton meters, and it's got a 625 battery as well. And we're both gonna go in the automatic mode, and we're just gonna see sort of a very unscientific test on how that range goes, because the Punisher is a lot fitter than me, but let's see how it goes. So let's talk a little bit about the Trance and why I'm stoked on it, and why I wanted to get on this bike. And a massive shout out to Giant for sending it over. I'm actually going to have it for a couple of months. I might even be able to get on the rain. Why I wanted this bike, and some of the riders out there that watch the channel would think it's a bit of a strange bike for me to pick. But in 2022, I want to do more trail riding, more exploring, and I want a proper trail bike. I just thought 140, 150, yeah, it's got a long chainstay, but I want to do some proper backcountry rides and go and show you riders exactly why I love Spain so much. And with the automatic suspension and the extra battery, this is a no-brainer for me. And man, the Trance is a looker. I really love the low standover height, super low, probably one of the lowest e-bikes I've ridden. And even Bayer looked at it and said, Sam, I might be able to ride that. So Bayer's putting it out there that she's tempted to have a crack. Who wants to see Bayer have a crack? Put it in the comments. If we get enough comments, she's gonna have to do it. But you know, the real big news for this bike is the new motor. It's smaller, it's quieter, it's got more power, it's got more clearance so you don't get those strikes on the rocks, and it does not have a rattle rider. In the Mondraker, I got very little rattles, but most Bosches have a rattle, and pretty much all EP8s have a rattle. Oh, this is getting pretty nice here. So that is a massive win, and I'm finding it's got super clean cockpit. So I really like the remote. I'm going to say the remote's up there with Specialized's remote. Super small, minimalistic. I really like that, and also it's got no display. It's got 5 assistant modes and an automatic mode, and to the right of that you have your 5 bars of power. And at the moment, Jorge and I are doing a very unscientific test, but the range seems to be pretty damn good on the new motor, on the sync drive. Jorge will definitely vouch for me. My technical climbing is a lot better on this bike. Look at this. Oh! The Punisher doesn't make it. Yeah. So we're gonna do a little bit of technical climbing, and we're gonna obviously open live valve, and we're gonna put it in the climb setting. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna firm up the suspension, close down the compression. It's gonna allow me, hopefully, to climb this. Let's see how the motor goes and how the live valve goes. So let's kick it. All right, so we're off. We are in the highest assistance, so we're in granny gear. We've put the live valve into climbing mode, and this is steep and nasty. I drop the seat a little bit low, and I also, when I get to the nasty spots, I stand up to keep my balance. But I'm going to say with that long chainstay, this bike is super stable. I am quite impressed with the Sync Drive motor. So the motor is a collaboration between Giant and Yamaha, which has 85 Newton meters and a 625 watt battery. So the strongest part about this new bike has to be the climbing. Pair it with the live valve and check out this, riders. This is super nasty, super steep, and normally I cannot follow the Punisher up here, but the Trance is making light work of it. So the first climb done, 500 meters, both in the automatic mode, and Jorge's a beast, and we both used 1 bar, so 20%, which is really good. I'm really impressed because the Bosch system is a range monster, so I'm super impressed with this. I can't wait to do the full range test. And riders, check out this behind us. This is some of the scenery in Madrid that you're gonna see when you come and do. Oh look, here he comes now.
Hey buddy.
Hey mate, how you doing? Hello. Oi, oi. This is what you're gonna see when you come and do the epic tours with Jorge, no?
Yeah, right.
You gotta come, riders. And one thing I really wanna point out and make it clear, this motor is really quiet. Under load, it's super quiet. It's got no rattle, as I said. Whee. And also, when technical climbing, it seems to have kind of like a nice half over pedal, like the Bosch. So you can do like a half pedal and go back and gain your balance. Yeah, definitely impressed. Okay, so we're starting the downhill. So this was supposed to be more trail riding, but we got a little lost, or we got kind of snowed in. We couldn't do a crossing, so we had to go down a pretty heavy enduro trail. And I have to really be careful on this bike because I need to tell myself it's a trail bike, and it's definitely on the side of a trail bike, not on the side of an enduro bike that I have been riding of late. You know, like the Mondraker and the Levo, I'm calling them trail duros. And this is definitely not a trail duro. This is definitely a trail bike. It's got the 150 at the front, 140 at the back. 29 is the new Sync Drive motor. Oh, I'm gonna say it's definitely more in its element on trail style trails. This is pretty heavy enduro. I'm also rocking the stock tires, which are Maxxis, and they're not the super soft. They're the Max Terrain, I think. Max Terra. The Max Terra, not Max Grip. And I'm definitely noticing that. I mean, I'll probably want to change the tires out to something with a bit more grip, but I understand why they put them on here. And for climbing, you get so much traction. This bike is definitely, whoa, in its element, going up and doing softer trail riding, not what Jorge's taking me to do today and try and kill me. But it can do it. On the way up, I had the suspension, whoa. On the way up, I had the suspension set in climbing mode with the live valve, and now I put it into sports mode. And how that works, I'm really not that sure yet, but I mean, this is the maiden voyage. Oh. So it's got sensors in the shocks. So when you are going through chunder like this, I imagine the compression is almost all fully open. And then when you get onto flatter sections, it closes down the compression. My first time riding automatic suspension, so definitely want to do a deep dive into that. It feels a bit twitchy when it gets steep of the 65.8 head tube angle, but when it's open like this, super stable and a bit of a rocket ship. It is my first day out, and you know, shakedown rides can be dangerous, so I'm definitely not opening it up. But what I'm really excited to do on this bike is some epic day ventures. And riders, any suggestions? I'm thinking starting off in southern Spain, showing you a bit of epic trails and obviously some great food and wine. So the gear on the Trance, we're rocking a 483 reach, which is pretty large for a trail bike. And then we've got the head tube angle of 65.8, and then we've got a whopping chainstay of 473, which is a bloody long chainstay, I know. But you know, riders, like 2 years ago, I tested the Rain in Adelaide, which had a 470 chainstay, and I only tested that bike because Will from Will Rides recommended it. And I was blown away at the Maestro suspension and how stable that bike. This is obviously a different weapon, and this is gonna really take me on these epic 1-dayers or epic 4 or 5 dayers. And riders really tell me, oh, look at it through here, it's so good. So we look at the bike, the Trance. We've got carbon full frame, we've got Fox factory suspension, we've got Fox live valve, we've got carbon wheels, carbon handlebars, XT brakes, which I love, XT changing running gear. What are we thinking, like 10, 12, 13 grand? This bike is really good value at 8.5, and actually starting without live valve, but with still Fox suspension at 6.5 grand. If I was picking a bike for this type of riding, I would have definitely got the bigger brother, the Giant Rain. It would definitely be far more suited into this type of riding. And I'm gonna say that both the Rain and the Trance, they're quite different bikes, actually really different, where I definitely want to take the Rain out on some hardcore trails, downhill trails, enduro trails. But this is going to be far more suited with the range extender, chuck another range extender in my backpack and go for those epic long days in the saddle. Now back home to give a little conclusion of my Shakedown ride. So I'm back from my Shakedown ride, and unfortunately the weather's turned a bit bad. But what was my findings from the first ride on the Trance E? I'm gonna say I was really blown away at the motor. I think the motor's really good. The range, we got pretty much the same in emtb mode as Jorge, but he is a little bit heavier, but he's also a little bit fitter. But that's really good because, you know, a major question mark a lot of riders out there are gonna have is what's the range like? What's the motor feel like? I'm gonna say first test is very good. Like, I need to do more testing, and this week I'm actually going to go out and test the Giant, the Levo, the Mondraker, and the Commensal. So all 4 motors I'm going to be testing next week. So riders, make sure you subscribe and get ready for that video. I am tired thinking about it. And on to how the bike felt. Amazing climber, so much fun. I can never keep up with Jorge doing the technical climbing, and I think I actually got almost all the climbs done apart from 2 where I had to put my foot off once, but that was really good, loads of traction. And with the trail riding, I say it was really good, really stable, really fast. And the live valve, I'm gonna say I need more time on it. I found because it was changing the compression, it was harder for me to find my balance on the bike, because when you were like in an open section and you could pump, when the compression's open on the bike, you actually have to pump more. So I was trying to work out where I had to push and where I didn't have to push, but that is just going to be time learning the bike. And for enduro / downhill, we're actually supposed to do more of a trail ride because it's a trail bike. But when we got to the top of the mountain, we actually had to try and cross a crossing that was all iced and snowed in. We couldn't cross it, so we had to go back and do a pretty heavy enduro trail. I'm going to say the Trance was probably out of its depth in that type of riding. I personally would much rather, to be honest, big brother, the Rain or something similar, but it can do it. You just need to slow it down and pick your lines better. And for the upgrades in the coming months, what am I going to do to this beast? I think I'm definitely going to change the front tire to a softer compound, because I found the Max Terra on the front really didn't give me a lot of confidence. And also the bars are pretty flat, almost like cross-country style. I might put some riser bars because I felt I was too sort of stretched out on the bike. And I'm definitely going to put Cushcore front and back because they're carbon rims. If you're riding carbon rims, I definitely recommend putting some type of insert in there. And riders, more importantly, what questions do you have on the Giant Trance E? Love to know. Put them in the comments. I'm happy to help. And riders, you know it. If you haven't subscribed to Sam's Bikes, please do so. Share it with like-minded people and stay safe out there. And make sure you are ready for next week. Epic motor test, EP8, Bros, Bosch, sync drive, all gonna be there. We're gonna find out which is the best and which is the best for you. So riders, we'll see you soon.